City of the Undead. The city lay shrouded in darkness, a once thriving metropolis now reduced to a decaying nightmare. Skyscrapers loomed like ominous tombstones against the dimly lit sky, and the streets, once bustling with life, were now haunted by the living dead. Sarah, a young woman with fire in her eyes and a hardened resolve, had become a survivor in this dystopian realm. Beside her, a mysterious wanderer named Mark walked in silence, carrying secrets as heavy as the world they now traversed. Their journey had begun weeks ago, when they had both heard whispers of salvation, a rumored safe haven amidst the chaos. Sarah's hope had flickered like a fragile flame, but it was enough to propel her forward, even in the face of the undead. The air was thick with tension as they made their way through the desolate streets, always on the lookout for signs of danger. The groans of zombies echoed in the distance, a macabre symphony of doom. Sarah gripped her makeshift weapon, a sharpened piece of metal, while Mark clutched a rusty pipe, a silent guardian with his own motives. Their first test came in the form of an abandoned alley, a narrow passage that seemed to stretch on forever into darkness. As they ventured cautiously into its depths, the ground beneath them squished with the unsettling sensation of something squirming beneath their feet. "Stay close," Sarah whispered, her voice barely audible. Mark nodded, his eyes scanning the shadows for any signs of movement. And then it happened. A chorus of guttural moans erupted around them. From the cracked pavement, hands clawed their way up, fingers gnarled and rotted, reaching for the living with a relentless hunger. Zombies surged from the ground, their ashen faces twisted in grotesque hunger. Sarah and Mark fought back to back, their weapons slicing through decaying flesh and bone. The alley became a nightmarish battleground as they hacked and slashed their way through the ambush. Sarah couldn't help but notice that these zombies were different, faster, more coordinated, and unnaturally intelligent. Amidst the chaos, she stole a glance at Mark, whose movements were strangely precise. It was as if he had faced these creatures before, as if he knew their every move. Doubt began to fester in Sarah's mind, but there was no time for questions as they fought for their lives. When the last zombie had fallen, they stood gasping for breath, covered in blood and gore. Sarah turned to Mark, her eyes narrowed. "You knew about this, didn't you?" Mark met her gaze with a heavy sigh. "I didn't have a choice. The truth is, I've been running from these things for a long time. I used to work for the organization that caused all of this. I helped create them." Sarah's heart sank as the revelation hung in the air like a ghostly specter. "You created them. You're responsible for all of this." Mark nodded, his eyes filled with regret. "I never intended for any of this to happen. It was supposed to be a cure for a different virus, but something went horribly wrong." Betrayal stung like a fresh wound as Sarah wrestled with her emotions. The man she had trusted, the man who had saved her life, was a part of the very nightmare they were fighting. But there was no time for anger. The undead horde still lurked in the shadows, drawn by the commotion. "We need to find that safe haven," Mark urged, desperation in his voice. "I can help us get there, but we have to keep moving." With a heavy heart, Sarah nodded. They resumed their journey, now haunted not only by the zombies but by the weight of their pasts. Mark's revelation had shattered her trust, but it had also ignited a spark of determination. She needed answers, and perhaps Mark held the key to unraveling the mystery behind the aberrant behavior of the undead. As they pressed on through the eerie cityscape, the tension between them grew thicker. Sarah couldn't help but wonder if she could ever truly trust Mark again. And as the city's secrets continued to unravel, she would soon discover that the zombies held far more sinister mysteries than she could have ever imagined. The city of the undead was a place where the line between the living and the dead had blurred, and where trust was a fragile currency in a world where survival was anything but guaranteed. The Last Refuge. The world had fallen into chaos. What was once a thriving planet had become a desolate wasteland overrun by the living dead. Emily, a young woman with unwavering determination, roamed the barren landscape, her every step echoing with the weight of solitude. She had lost everyone she loved to the relentless march of the undead. One bleak afternoon, as the sky was painted in ashy hues, Emily stumbled upon a sight that seemed like a mirage in the wilderness, a farmhouse nestled amidst fields of tall, withered cornstalks. It stood like a solitary sentinel, an island of hope in a sea of despair. Desperation and exhaustion drove Emily to the farmhouse's weathered door. She pounded on it, her heart pounding louder. It creaked open to reveal a reclusive figure named David, a man who had survived the apocalypse by sheer will and cunning. "We're surrounded," Emily gasped, her voice trembling. "Please, let me in." David hesitated, his eyes scanning the horizon, where a writhing mass of zombies drew closer with each passing moment. In that precarious moment, he saw a fire in Emily's eyes, a determination to survive that mirrored his own. "Come in, quickly," he urged, pulling her inside. The heavy wooden door slammed shut, barricading the horrors outside. The farmhouse was dimly lit, filled with the musky scent of old wood and secrets. It was a place where time had stood still, a relic of a world before the outbreak. But now it had become their sanctuary, their last refuge against the relentless tide of the undead. Emily and David exchanged wary glances, two survivors with different pasts and different scars, brought together by the cruel hand of fate. Emily, haunted by the memories of her family's final moments, had been on the run for so long that she had almost forgotten what safety felt like. David, a man of few words, had hoarded supplies and secrets, his farmhouse fortified against the world outside. As night fell, the darkness outside was punctuated by the eerie moans of the undead, a chilling reminder of the dangers that lurked beyond the walls. Emily and David sat in tense silence, listening to the relentless pounding on the farmhouse's doors and windows. "We can't stay here forever," Emily whispered, her voice filled with apprehension. David nodded, his eyes betraying a hint of fear. "I've survived here for months, but we can't hold them off indefinitely." They decided to venture into the basement, a place filled with David's carefully crafted traps and defenses. It was like descending into a crypt, with dimly lit tunnels that twisted and turned, leading to hidden chambers filled with weapons and supplies. David's obsessive preparations had turned the farmhouse into a fortress. As they explored the underground labyrinth, Emily noticed strange markings on the walls, symbols and diagrams that seemed to hint at a greater purpose. David reluctantly explained their meaning, revealing that he had been researching the outbreak, searching for answers to its origin. Emily's eyes widened as David unveiled a shocking truth. The virus was not a random mutation, but a man-made catastrophe. A group of desperate scientists had unleashed it, hoping to control the human population. Instead, they had unleashed a nightmare that consumed the world. The revelation hung heavy in the air as they continued their exploration, uncovering hidden chambers filled with documents, experiments, and a chilling plan to contain the outbreak by any means necessary. David had known all along, but the burden of that knowledge had haunted him. Their escape from the underground labyrinth was fraught with peril, as they encountered traps meant to deter intruders. Emily couldn't help but wonder if David had been prepared to use these defenses against her, to protect his secrets at any cost. But as they emerged from the darkness, they were met with a grim reality. The farmhouse was no longer safe. The zombies had breached their defenses, and a harrowing standoff ensued. Emily and David fought side by side, their backs against the wall, their hearts filled with despair. It was then that Emily made the ultimate sacrifice, luring the undead away from David and the farmhouse. With tears in her eyes, she vanished into the night, becoming a fleeting shadow in the darkness. David watched in silence as Emily's courage led the zombies away, giving him a chance to escape. He would carry her memory with him, a symbol of human resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. The farmhouse, once a beacon of hope, was consumed by the undead, its secrets buried with the fallen. David, now a solitary survivor once more, walked into the desolate wilderness, carrying the burden of knowledge and the memory of Emily. In this world of despair, where humanity teetered on the brink of extinction, Emily's sacrifice would be remembered as a testament to the human spirit's indomitable will to survive. The last refuge had crumbled, but its legacy would live on, a flicker of hope in a world consumed by darkness. Infection Unleashed. Dr. Anderson had always been driven by a relentless pursuit of knowledge. His brilliant mind had led him to the darkest corners of scientific exploration, where ethics often blurred into obscurity. It was within the sterile, underground confines of the research facility, hidden from the world above, that he would make a discovery that would haunt him forever. Alex, a stoic security officer, had been assigned to keep watch over the facility, a place shrouded in secrecy. For years, he had patrolled its corridors, guarding the enigma within, never fully aware of the horrors that lay dormant beneath the sterile veneer. One fateful day, as Dr. Anderson conducted an experiment to enhance the cognitive abilities of a virus, something went horribly wrong. A vial of the virus shattered, and within moments, the underground labyrinth echoed with the screams of the infected. As the alarms blared and chaos erupted, Dr. Anderson and Alex found themselves trapped within the facility, surrounded by infected creatures unlike any they had ever encountered. These creatures exhibited heightened intelligence, their eyes filled with malevolent cunning. Dr. Anderson's heart raced with fear and regret. He had unleashed a monster, and now he must confront the consequences of his own reckless curiosity. With terror nipping at their heels, Dr. Anderson and Alex embarked on a perilous journey through the dark, contaminated corridors of the facility. Every corner held the promise of death. Every shadow concealed a lurking threat. The infected were relentless in their pursuit, their footsteps echoing with a grotesque symphony of anticipation. It was as if the virus had not only heightened their intelligence but also their sadistic tendencies. They played a deadly game of cat and mouse, toying with their prey, reveling in their terror. Dr. Anderson's mind raced as he racked his brain for a solution, a way to stop the infection, to reverse the horrors he had unleashed. But time was running out, and the labyrinth seemed to stretch on forever, an unending nightmare. Amidst the chaos, Alex's unwavering determination shone like a beacon of hope. He had seen the darkness that humanity was capable of, the consequences of Dr. Anderson's reckless experiments. But he was determined to survive and to ensure that the nightmare never reached the world above. As they delved deeper into the facility's heart, they stumbled upon a hidden chamber, a place where the virus's origins were shrouded in secrecy. Dr. Anderson's breath caught in his throat as he read the documents scattered on the floor, revealing a shocking truth. The virus had not been created as a mere experiment. It had been weaponized, a tool of destruction intended for use in a larger conflict. The research facility had been nothing more than a pawn in a dangerous game of power and manipulation. Dr. Anderson and Alex were not merely victims of their own hubris, they were pawns in a greater conspiracy. The virus was not just an accident but a weapon poised to unleash global catastrophe. As the infected closed in, the two men faced a harrowing decision: escape and expose the truth, or stay and attempt to contain the virus within the facility, even if it meant sacrificing themselves. With the weight of their choices pressing down upon them, Dr. Anderson and Alex made their final stand. They rigged the facility to self-destruct, a desperate bid to prevent the virus from ever reaching the surface. The countdown to destruction began, and with every passing second, the infected drew closer. Dr. Anderson and Alex fought with every ounce of strength left in their bodies, their weapons clashing with the infected in a frantic dance of survival. In the end, as the facility crumbled around them, they watched in silence as the virus and its horrors were consumed by the flames. The underground labyrinth became their tomb, a final resting place for the consequences of their actions. As the world above remained blissfully unaware of the horrors that had lurked beneath, Dr. Anderson and Alex's sacrifice was a bitter testament to the dangers of scientific curiosity and the cost of playing with nature's most volatile forces. The facility's secrets remained buried, a tragic reminder of the ethical dilemmas that had led to its downfall. The infected were no more, but their malevolent intelligence, a reflection of humanity's own dark tendencies, would forever haunt the nightmares of those who had crossed their path. In the end, Infection Unleashed served as a chilling cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked ambition and the terrifying depths to which humanity could sink in its reckless pursuit of knowledge. The Survivor's Diary. In a world tainted by decay and despair, a small community of survivors clung to life amidst the ruins of civilization. Their sanctuary was a makeshift fortress, hidden away from the relentless hordes of the undead that prowled the wasteland beyond. They had learned the hard way that trust was a luxury, and survival was their only currency. Jake, the grizzled leader of the community, had seen too much loss to let his guard down. His eyes were etched with the scars of the past, and he had learned the art of ruthless pragmatism. It was a world where compassion had become a liability. One cold evening, as the pale moon hung low in the ashy sky, a figure emerged from the desolation, a young woman named Lily. Her arrival sent shockwaves through the community, stirring whispers of uncertainty and mistrust. Lily carried with her a tattered leather diary, its pages yellowed with age and stained with the marks of survival. She claimed it contained the truth about the outbreak, the secrets that had plunged the world into chaos. The diary had been her only companion in the darkest of times, and now it held the answers to questions that had haunted her. As Lily was ushered into the fortified enclave, the eyes of the survivors bore into her like daggers. They questioned her motives, her loyalties, and the weight of the secrets she carried. Jake, ever the vigilant leader, approached her with caution. "What's in that diary of yours?" he asked, his voice a blend of curiosity and suspicion. Lily hesitated, her fingers trembling as she clutched the diary to her chest. It's a record of what I've seen, what I've survived. The truth about the outbreak, the horrors that brought us here." Jake's eyes narrowed. "And why should we believe you? We've had our share of storytellers, and they usually bring trouble." Lily's gaze met his, a desperate plea for trust in her eyes. "Because it's all there, in those pages. The pictures, the stories, they'll show you the horrors I've faced. The infected are evolving, changing in ways we can't predict. We need to know the truth to survive." Reluctantly, Jake allowed Lily to stay, but her presence set off a chain reaction of paranoia within the community. Whispers of betrayal and hidden agendas echoed through the campfires, as survivors wondered if Lily's arrival was a harbinger of doom. That night, as the wind howled through the crumbling walls of the enclave, Jake pored over Lily's diary. Its pages were filled with chilling illustrations, ghoulish, nightmarish depictions of the undead. The infected were evolving, as Lily had claimed, their forms grotesque and unpredictable. Jake's heart weighed heavy with dread as he realized the gravity of their situation. If Lily spoke the truth, their community was not just battling the undead, they were up against an ever-evolving enemy, one that could spell their doom. In the days that followed, Lily's diary revealed more horrors, a series of journal entries that chronicled the outbreak's origins, the recklessness of scientists, and the depths of human desperation. The survivors were left to grapple with a chilling truth. This new breed of undead was no accident. It was a result of human arrogance and the relentless pursuit of scientific progress. As the revelations piled up, tensions within the community reached a breaking point. Some survivors clamored for answers, demanding to know what Jake intended to do with this newfound knowledge. Others feared the consequences of facing an even more formidable enemy and wanted to maintain the status quo. One fateful night, the Enclave erupted into chaos. A tense confrontation between those who sought the truth and those who feared it escalated into violence. Fists flew, and voices screamed, tearing at the fragile bonds of survival. Amidst the chaos, Lily stood before the survivors, her voice trembling but resolute. "We can't bury our heads in the sand. The world has changed, and we need to adapt or die. We have to face the truth, no matter how terrifying it may be." Jake, torn between his instincts as a protector and his responsibility as a leader, made a gut-wrenching decision. With the truth exposed, he knew that the community could no longer remain in its fortified enclave. They had to venture into the perilous wasteland, armed with knowledge and the grim determination to survive. The survivors packed their meager belongings, bracing themselves for a perilous journey into the unknown. The Enclave, once their sanctuary, was abandoned, a relic of their past, a symbol of their lost innocence. As they ventured out into the unforgiving world, their paths were shrouded in uncertainty, but they were armed with the truth, a weapon more powerful than any they had possessed before. The images from Lily's diary remained etched in their minds, a chilling reminder of the horrors they faced. In this world where survival was a constant battle, the weight of secrets had given way to the burden of knowledge. The community was forever changed, forever bound by the truth they had uncovered. As they ventured into the desolate wasteland, they knew that the journey ahead would be treacherous, but it was a path they had chosen. They would face the evolving horrors of the undead, and the cost of survival would demand more than they could have ever imagined. The survivor's diary had become their compass, guiding them through the darkness with the hope that, someday, they might find a way to reclaim their world from the ever-changing horrors that lurked in the shadows. Cursed cargo. Captain Reynolds had sailed the unforgiving seas for decades, his skin weathered by salt and sun, his heart forged by the tempest's fury. But nothing in his years at sea could have prepared him for the horrors that would unfold on this accursed voyage. The cargo ship Hesperia had been dispatched to carry an enigmatic cargo across treacherous waters. Its destination was a remote island, its secrets known to only a select few. Among the ship's crew, unease brewed like a gathering storm. Whispers of the cargo's dark origins echoed through the corridors, but the promise of riches outweighed the weight of dread. It was in the belly of the ship, hidden away from prying eyes, that the cursed cargo lay in wait, a wooden chest adorned with ominous carvings and ornate locks. Its dark secrets were bound by the chains of maritime legend, whispered among sailors as cautionary tales of greed and folly. Alina, a young stowaway seeking refuge from the horrors of the undead-infested world, had found sanctuary amidst the ship's cargo. She had been desperate to escape the relentless march of the infected, and the allure of a cargo ship bound for unknown shores had been too great to resist. As the days at sea stretched on, Alina became increasingly aware of the crew's growing unease. Superstitions ran deep among sailors, and it wasn't long before stories of the cursed cargo reached her ears. It was said that the chest held the vengeful spirit of a long-deceased sailor, a wraith seeking retribution for the greed that had bound it to this world. One moonless night, as the ship sailed through dark, uncharted waters, Alina heard the first whispers, a chorus of spectral voices that seemed to emanate from the cursed cargo. She ventured closer, drawn by a curiosity that masked her fear. The carvings on the chest seemed to come alive, their ethereal glow illuminating the corridor. And then, before her eyes, the spirit materialized, a spectral figure clad in tattered sailor's garb, its hollow eyes fixated on Alina. The ghostly sailor's voice echoed through the ship, recounting the tragic tale of the cargo's origins, a story of betrayal, greed, and the horrors that had been unleashed upon the sea. The chest contained not only the sailor's vengeful spirit but also a cursed treasure that had ensnared countless souls. Alina, trembling with fear, had unwittingly become the vessel through which the spirit could communicate with the living world. The ghostly sailor demanded justice, vowing to exact revenge upon the ship's crew and free its tormented soul from the cursed cargo. As the ship's crew succumbed to the infection, they rose from the dead, their lifeless eyes filled with malevolent intent. Captain Reynolds, ever the stoic leader, found himself battling not only the undead but also the vengeful spirit that sought to condemn them all. Alina and Captain Reynolds formed an uneasy alliance, their lives bound together by the horrors that surrounded them. They navigated the treacherous vessel, their footsteps echoing through the haunted corridors, always aware that the cursed cargo was their true enemy. The ghostly sailor played a deadly game of cat and mouse, manipulating the ship's surroundings to torment the living. Shadows danced in the corners of their vision, and eerie whispers filled the air. The undead crew became pawns in the spirit's sinister plan, moving with an unnatural coordination that defied the laws of life and death. As the malevolent spirit's influence grew, Captain Reynolds and Alina knew they had to confront the cursed cargo and put an end to the haunting once and for all. With trembling hands, they unlocked the ornate chest, revealing the cursed treasure within, a collection of jewels and artifacts that had doomed countless souls. The ghostly sailor manifested before them, its voice filled with anguish and rage. It demanded that they cast the treasure into the unforgiving depths, to free it from its curse and prevent the spirit from exacting its revenge. With heavy hearts, Captain Reynolds and Alina heaved the cursed treasure into the abyss, watching as it disappeared into the dark, churning waters. The ghostly sailor let out a mournful cry, its form dissipating like a specter consumed by the night. As the cursed cargo sank into the depths, the ship trembled, as if the very ocean itself had been stirred by their action. The malevolent spirit was gone, but the horrors of their voyage would forever haunt their memories. With the curse broken, the undead crew crumbled to dust, their souls finally finding peace. Captain Reynolds and Alina, survivors of a voyage into madness, steered the ship toward the distant horizon, forever changed by the supernatural horrors they had witnessed. In a world where the line between the living and the dead had blurred, where the sins of the past had the power to bind souls to this world, cursed cargo served as a chilling reminder of the consequences of greed and the forces beyond human understanding that could be unleashed upon the sea. The Underground Catacomb. Beneath the sprawling metropolis lay a hidden world, a dark labyrinth of secrets and shadows, an ancient catacomb that had long been forgotten by the living. Amelia, a fearless archaeologist with a passion for uncovering history's mysteries, had gathered a team of eager scholars to delve into its depths. They believed that the catacomb held the key to unraveling the city's enigmatic past, a trove of relics and knowledge that had remained untouched for centuries. Armed with tools and torches, they ventured deep into the earth, where the air was thick with the weight of history. The catacombs' tunnels were a mesmerizing maze of winding passages, filled with crypts and chambers that had borne witness to countless generations. But as the team delved deeper, the air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to move of their own accord. Amelia's team began to uncover crypts adorned with ancient symbols and warnings etched into stone. It was as if the very walls whispered tales of doom and despair. But they pressed on, driven by a thirst for knowledge that clouded their judgment. It was during an excavation deep within the catacomb that they unearthed an artifact unlike any they had ever seen. An ornate sarcophagus, adorned with a curse that had been etched into its stone surface. The hieroglyphics spoke of wrath and vengeance, of those who would disturb the eternal rest of the dead. As the team eagerly pried the sarcophagus open, a chill settled in their bones. Within, they found the remains of a long-forgotten pharaoh, his body preserved by ancient rituals. But the pharaoh's eyes were empty sockets, and his desiccated lips seemed to bear a twisted smile. Amelia's team had unwittingly awakened the curse that had lain dormant for millennia. The catacomb trembled with the wrath of the pharaoh, and the very earth seemed to rebel against their intrusion. From the shadows emerged the risen dead, zombies, their skin pallid and eyes hollow, drawn to the living like moths to a flame. Panic rippled through the team as they realized the horror they had unleashed. Amelia, always one to lead from the front, rallied her team. They fled deeper into the catacomb, pursued by the relentless undead. The tunnels became a claustrophobic nightmare, their torches casting eerie shadows that danced on the walls. Amidst the chaos, a lone figure emerged, a man named Mike, a seasoned zombie hunter who had spent years battling the undead. He had sensed the disturbance in the catacomb and ventured into the depths, armed with an arsenal of weapons and a grim determination. Mike's arrival was a glimmer of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. With his guidance, the team navigated the catacombs' treacherous traps and puzzles, each step a deadly dance with death. But as they ventured deeper, they realized that the catacomb held more than just the undead. It was a place where ancient curses had been woven into the very fabric of the earth, and the walls seemed to shift and twist, leading them further into the abyss. Amelia's team uncovered secret chambers filled with relics of unspeakable power, artifacts that had been buried with the pharaoh to safeguard the living from their malevolence. Yet, even these treasures could not protect them from the relentless pursuit of the undead. The catacomb became a battleground, a clash between the living and the dead, between science and superstition. The team fought with all their might, their every breath an affront to the ancient curse that sought to consume them. As they descended into the catacomb's darkest depths, they discovered a hidden chamber, an ancient burial chamber that held the source of the curse, a relic of unimaginable power that pulsed with malevolent energy. Mike, the seasoned hunter, knew that they had to destroy the relic to break the curse and put an end to the horrors that had been unleashed. With a heavy heart, he stepped forward, his weapon aimed at the artifact. But the catacomb would not give up its secrets so easily. The undead closed in, their hunger for the living insatiable. As Mike fought to protect the team, Amelia realized that there was only one way to destroy the relic and end the curse. With a heart full of resolve, she made a desperate choice. She would sacrifice herself to destroy the artifact. With trembling hands, she activated the catacombs' ancient mechanisms, triggering a cataclysmic collapse. Amelia's team watched in horror as the catacomb crumbled around them, taking the artifact and the curse with it. The undead were consumed by the darkness, their moans fading into nothingness. Amidst the chaos, Mike pulled the surviving members of the team to safety, and they emerged from the catacombs' ruins, forever changed by the horrors they had witnessed. In a world where the past could reach out from the depths of history to exact its vengeance, the Underground Catacomb served as a chilling reminder of the consequences of disturbing ancient resting places, the power of curses, and the clash between human ambition and the supernatural forces that lurked in the shadows. The Zombie Carnival. The abandoned carnival had once been a place of laughter and wonder, a world of colorful rides and whimsical funhouses. But now it lay in ruins, a decaying landscape overrun by the undead, where the grotesque and the macabre had replaced the innocent joy of childhood. Alex, a teenager with haunted eyes and a heart heavy with worry, ventured into this nightmarish realm in search of his missing sister, Lily. The last he had seen of her was a frantic message, a plea for help amidst the chaos of the outbreak. As Alex stepped through the rusted gates of the carnival, a shiver ran down his spine. The air was thick with an eerie stillness, broken only by the distant moans of the undead. The ride stood frozen in time, their once vibrant colors now faded and peeling. He had hoped to find Lily waiting for him, her face filled with relief and gratitude. But what he encountered was something far more sinister, a grotesque carnival of the undead. Zombie clowns with decaying faces and tattered costumes lurched towards him, their grins twisted into rictus smiles. Twisted rides creaked to life on their own, their mechanisms controlled by unseen hands. As Alex ventured deeper into the carnival, he encountered a group of fellow survivors, a motley crew of individuals who had each been drawn to this nightmarish place in search of loved ones or refuge from the horrors outside. Together, they navigated the perilous carnival grounds, fighting off the relentless hordes of the undead and searching for any sign of their missing friends and family. Their every step was fraught with danger, their every moment a test of their wits and survival instincts. Amidst the chaos, they stumbled upon a dilapidated funhouse, its flickering neon sign bearing the name The Twisted Mirror Maze. It was said to be the heart of the carnival's malevolence, a place where the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurred. As they ventured inside, the mirrors distorted their reflections, turning them into grotesque caricatures of themselves. The walls seemed to close in on them, and the maze of mirrors shifted and changed, leading them deeper into the labyrinthine heart of the carnival. But it was what they found at the maze center that sent chills down their spines. A sinister ringmaster, his top hat casting a shadow over his malevolent eyes. He controlled the undead with a wave of his hand, a puppet master orchestrating a nightmarish circus. The ringmaster revealed the carnival's dark history, a place where innocence had been corrupted, where childhood memories had been twisted into something grotesque and nightmarish. It was a place where the living had become the entertainment for the undead, a sickening spectacle that pleased the malevolent ringmaster. Alex's heart ached as he realized that his sister, Lily, had been taken by the ringmaster, a captive in this grotesque carnival of the undead. He vowed to rescue her, to defy the malevolent forces that held her captive. With the help of his newfound allies, Alex confronted the ringmaster in a harrowing showdown. The funhouse mirrors shattered, the distorted reflections disappearing into shards of glass. The ringmaster's control over the undead began to wane. But the ringmaster was not so easily defeated. He unleashed his undead circus troupe, a macabre parade of acrobats, contortionists, and clowns, each more grotesque than the last. As the survivors fought for their lives, Alex finally confronted the ringmaster in a tense and dramatic showdown. The ringmaster's malevolent laughter filled the air, but Alex's determination burned brighter. In the end, it was a combination of wits, courage, and a desperate final gambit that led to the ringmaster's defeat. With a final wave of his hand, the malevolent control over the undead was broken, and the carnival's nightmarish spectacle came to a crashing halt. Lily, pale but alive, emerged from the shadows, her eyes filled with gratitude and relief. She and Alex embraced, their bond stronger than ever, forged in the crucible of the zombie carnival. As they left the decaying carnival behind, the survivors couldn't help but glance back at the twisted world they had escaped. A place where the loss of innocence had given birth to grotesque horrors. A place where childhood memories had been distorted into a surreal nightmare. In a world where the past could be twisted and corrupted, where innocence had been lost to the relentless march of the undead. The zombie carnival served as a chilling reminder of the surreal horrors that could lurk within the most unexpected places and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unspeakable terror. The Zombie Outbreak, Patient Zero. In the heart of a top-secret government laboratory, a chilling conspiracy unfurled, a sinister experiment in the pursuit of power and control, a calamity waiting to be unleashed. Dr. Emily Clark, a brilliant scientist with a haunted conscience, had been the architect of this impending disaster. Agent James, a government operative with a steadfast dedication to duty, had been dispatched to contain the situation. But little did he know that he was walking into a world of deceit and moral dilemmas that would test the very core of his conviction. Dr. Emily Clark had once been driven by noble intentions, a pursuit of scientific knowledge and innovation. But as she peered through the microscope at the virus she had engineered, a virus that reanimated the dead, her sense of morality had crumbled. She had become patient zero, the catalyst for the undead outbreak that now threatened to consume the world. The lab had been her prison, a gilded cage that concealed the horrors within. As the containment protocols within the lab began to fail, the undead clawed at the reinforced doors, their hunger for flesh insatiable. Emily and James found themselves trapped within the secure facility, their fates irrevocably intertwined. The lab held secrets that extended far beyond the creation of the virus. It was a place where experiments had been conducted on living subjects, where the boundaries of ethical science had been breached with reckless abandon. As Emily and James fought to survive, they uncovered the true purpose of the lab, a sinister plot to wield the virus as a weapon of mass destruction, to reshape the world through chaos and fear. Their every step was fraught with danger, their every breath a reminder of the consequences of their actions. The lab's experimental equipment became both a weapon and a means of salvation, a reflection of the moral tightrope they walked. Emily was haunted by guilt, the weight of her creation a heavy burden on her soul. She knew that the virus had been intended for nefarious purposes, but she had been blinded by her ambition and the allure of scientific discovery. James, on the other hand, had been a pawn in a larger game, a government operative sent to contain the outbreak without knowledge of the lab's true purpose. As the undead closed in, he grappled with the realization that he had been used as a tool of deception. As they navigated the labyrinthine corridors of the lab, Emily and James encountered remnants of the past, living subjects turned into grotesque hybrids of humanity and the undead. Their grotesque existence was a testament to the moral atrocities that had been committed in the name of science. The undead breached the lab's secure walls, their relentless pursuit driving Emily and James deeper into the heart of the conspiracy. They knew that they had to find a way to contain the outbreak, to prevent the virus from being unleashed upon an unsuspecting world. But they were not alone in their struggle. A rogue government faction, hell-bent on securing the virus as a weapon, closed in on them. The lab became a battleground, a clash between those who sought to wield the virus for power and those who sought redemption in the face of catastrophe. In a final confrontation that tested the limits of their resolve, Emily and James fought against the rogue faction. The lab's experimental equipment became their salvation, a means to contain the virus and prevent it from spreading further. As the lab crumbled around them, the virus was sealed away, its threat neutralized. But the cost of their actions weighed heavy on Emily and James. The lab had been their crucible, a place where moral dilemmas had shattered their convictions and reshaped their destinies. In a world where the pursuit of power could lead to the creation of monsters, and the consequences of one's actions could ripple through time, the zombie outbreak, Patient Zero served as a chilling reminder of the ethical dilemmas that could arise in the pursuit of scientific knowledge, the dangers of government secrecy, and the possibility of redemption in the face of catastrophic consequences. The Zombie Hotel. The moon hung low in the night sky, casting eerie shadows across the grand but dilapidated facade of the hotel. Once a jewel of opulence, it had fallen into disrepair, its windows shattered, its grandeur reduced to decay and decadence. Sarah, a weary traveler seeking shelter from the relentless undead horde that roamed the streets, stumbled upon the forsaken building. The flickering neon sign still bore the name the Grand Elysium Hotel, though its once gleaming letters had faded with time. She pushed open the heavy wooden doors, their hinges creaking with protest. The lobby was a haunting tableau of faded elegance. A grand chandelier hung askew, cobwebs clung to once luxurious furnishings, and a layer of dust blanketed the marble floor. As Sarah ventured further into the hotel, she realized that she was not alone. Zombified guests wandered the labyrinthine corridors, their hollow eyes devoid of life. They shuffled aimlessly, the remnants of their former selves trapped within these decaying walls. Victor, a gaunt figure with sunken eyes and pallid skin, emerged from the shadows. He had once been the proud owner of the hotel, a man of wealth and influence. Now, he was a prisoner within his own creation, a spectral guardian of its dark secrets. Sarah's arrival had shattered the fragile tranquility of the hotel, a place where time had ceased to exist, and the past lingered like a ghostly echo. Victor welcomed her with a hollow smile, his voice a haunting whisper. But as Sarah explored the hotel's corridors, she encountered more than just the undead. Ghostly apparitions flickered in and out of existence, their tormented faces frozen in expressions of despair. They were the echoes of past guests, trapped in a never-ending nightmare. Each room of the hotel told a different tragic story. A honeymoon suite where a newlywed couple had met their end. A ballroom where a grand celebration had turned into a macabre dance of death. And a penthouse where a once successful businessman had taken his own life. Sarah's sense of unease grew with each step, her every breath a reminder of the dark history that clung to the hotel's walls. She realized that the hotel was more than just a haven for the undead. It was a place where the sins of the past had been etched into its very foundation. Victor, the once proud owner, confessed to the hotel's sinister history, a place where greed and ambition had given birth to unspeakable horrors. He had sought immortality through forbidden rituals, unleashing a curse that had doomed the hotel and its guests to an eternity of torment. Sarah was trapped within a nightmare, a deadly game of cat and mouse with Victor, who saw her as the key to his salvation. He believed that by sacrificing her, he could break the curse that bound him to the hotel. As she evaded Victor's malevolent clutches, Sarah uncovered the hotel's gruesome past. The guests who had perished within its walls had become the undead, their souls trapped in a macabre purgatory, their anguish feeding the curse that Victor had unleashed. Haunted by the ghosts of her own past, Sarah confronted Victor in a final, harrowing showdown. The hotel's grandeur had become a grotesque facade, concealing the horrors that lurked within. With a desperate act of courage, Sarah shattered the cursed amulet that had bound Victor to the hotel, breaking the curse's hold on the undead. The hotel trembled, its walls echoing with the tortured wails of the ghostly apparitions. As the curse dissipated, the undead guests crumbled to dust, their souls finally finding peace. Victor, his eyes filled with remorse, faded into the shadows, a specter condemned to wander the hotel's halls for all eternity. Sarah emerged from the hotel, forever changed by the horrors she had witnessed. In a world where decay and decadence could give birth to unspeakable evil, where the haunting of past sins could shape the present, the zombie hotel served as a chilling reminder of the allure of the macabre and the relentless pursuit of redemption in the face of dark and haunting truths. The Zombie Apocalypse Diaries. Diary entry, Sarah. As I write this, I'm huddled in the dark corner of a rundown convenience store. The world outside is a nightmare. The dead walk the streets, and humanity is hanging by a thread. I lost my family a week ago, and now I'm alone, surviving day by day. Every step I take, every sound I hear sends shivers down my spine. The groans of the undead are a constant reminder of the hell we're living in. But I've also met others, survivors like me. We share stories, food, and hope. In this darkness, we cling to the light of our shared humanity. Diary entry, James. I can't believe it's been 3 months since the outbreak began. The government is long gone, and we're on our own. I've joined a group of survivors, and together we've turned an old warehouse into our stronghold. Today, we faced another wave of the undead. We fought them off, but it's getting harder every time. We're running low on supplies, and morale is sinking. Still, we have to keep going, for each other and for the future. Diary entry, Maria. I never thought I'd find myself in this situation. The undead are everywhere, and there's no escape. I'm hiding in an old school, but it won't hold them off for long. I met a group of survivors, but the fear in their eyes mirrors my own. We're all just trying to survive, trying to hold on to a shred of our humanity. Diary entry, Carlos. We found a radio today. It's been months since we last heard any news from the outside world. We tuned in, hoping for a sign of hope. Instead, we heard the desperate pleas of other survivors. There are pockets of resistance all over, people trying to survive against the odds. We might be scattered, but we're not alone. We're part of something bigger, something that refuses to be snuffed out. Diary entry, Emily. Today, I met a man named David. He saved my life when I was cornered by a horde of zombies. We've decided to stick together, to watch each other's backs. In this world of chaos and death, there's a strange beauty in the bond we've formed. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there can be moments of connection and warmth. Diary entry, Mark. We've been on the move for weeks now. Our group has grown smaller, and we've lost too many along the way. We found refuge in an abandoned hospital, but it's far from safe. We're all haunted by the memories of those we've lost, the faces of friends and family who turned into monsters. But we press on, driven by the hope that one day, we might find a way out of this nightmare. Diary entry, Sophia. It's been a year since the outbreak began, and I've become a different person. Survival has a way of changing you. I've seen things that would haunt my dreams if I could still sleep, but I've also seen the resilience of the human spirit. We adapt, we fight, and we hold on to the hope that one day we'll reclaim our world from the undead. Diary entry, William. We've heard rumors of a safe haven, a place where survivors have banded together to rebuild society. It might be a long shot, but it's the glimmer of hope we've been waiting for. We've packed our meager supplies and started our journey, knowing that the road ahead is perilous. But we're fueled by the belief that humanity's spirit can't be extinguished, not even in the face of a zombie apocalypse. Diary entry, Anna. We finally arrived at the rumored safe haven, a hidden community nestled in the mountains. It's a haven of hope in a world gone mad. We're not just survivors, we're a family now, bound by the shared experience of this zombie-infested world. As we settle into this new life, we'll keep these diaries, our chronicles of survival, to remind us of how far we've come and what it means to be human in the face of unimaginable horrors. In a world where the dead walk and humanity is scattered and struggling, the Zombie Apocalypse Diaries serve as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the power of connection, and the many facets of fear in a global crisis. Each diary entry paints a unique picture of survival, hope, and the enduring strength of the human soul.